someone who wanted to challenge and destroy the monarchy, someone who wanted to burn Malaysia to the ground if need be by racial riots. And obviously, I was a consumer of that narrative when I was young, and I told this to him personally before, and I'm telling it to you again today, is that I believed it. I believed the demonic image of Kit Siang because I consumed TV Trend to Sun on a daily basis. I came from a lower middle income family in Johor, mom being a civil servant, a teacher, and my father, a Singaporean who worked as a labourer. And that was a narrative which we were fed in almost every single day. So being young, I believed in it. I grew up in a staunchly Barisan National family. When I say staunch, I mean to a point that during elections, parents and family members will check one another to ensure that my siblings who could vote then will vote for Barisan National, go out brandishing their fully sponsored PN merchandise, cool hats, t-shirts, and what have you. And it was in that family that I was taught about Saudara Kit. I don't blame my family, and I'm very privileged to be in a very loving family, but it was institutions which were built that way, subverted, to paint Saudara Kit as the most evil demon in Malaysia. Things changed in 2015 and 2016. Then I was merely an officer in the Prime Minister's office and a researcher under the Johor State Government. And the 1MDB scandal came up. And obviously then, Saudara Kit was one of the first few persons who spoke supremely vocal about it. And then I started to realize we shared a lot more in common. Especially when we started meeting up with one another. And then it wasn't very personal conversations. Then it was with Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, to Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. And I don't come from this political family. And I was the first one in my family who actually got involved in politics. And then a lot of things which Kit Siang said were things which I believed in as well. And then I realized that it's not the demon which everyone wanted to portray. He worked a lot harder than many of the younger politicians. I think until today, I think he writes more press statements than many of the younger politicians, and every day I'll keep on asking, what new press statement will Kit Siang write? And I think that level of diligence, hard work, really exemplifies someone who's of that age but still wanting to work as someone who's as young as myself. And as we campaign from state to state, that's when I realized that Kit Siang is not the Kit Siang which has been portrayed by the media for decades in Malaysia. That we share a lot more things in common, that while we may not be born into the same family, race or religion, and may be divided based on what institutions have fed us for decades, but I think common values, virtues, ideas are what tie us all up together, which then led to the historic win of GE14. I share this story because I believe that's the beautiful story of the Malaysia which we are in today. That while we may be born into different families and share a very divided past, but I think our future should be a lot more connected with one another. And the beautiful story of Malaysia is that our strength is indeed in our diversity, and that we should celebrate diversity, not merely tolerate it. And that while I may have very different views of Kit Siang in my past, but I had the opportunity to change and now keep on moving forward. And I believe that there are millions of other Malaysians who share the same belief as well. And if they don't share the same belief, it's not for us to pander, but for us to change hearts and minds of people. And I hope that if there's one particular trait in which people could pick up of Saudara Kit, is that unbelievable determination of pursuit to move Malaysia forward, no matter how difficult and painful it is. The multiple sedition acts, ISAs, OSAs, every single state machinery to tie him down, but he keeps on bouncing back and moving forward stronger. And his beliefs have not changed. And while I believe his party has been going through multiple different the Oxford Western group, the more hyper-Chinese group. But Saudara Kid has never changed no matter how unpopular it may get. And I think that's the beautiful part of politics which I've learned. That even in the worst case of scenario that Malaysia may not be ready to fully embrace moderation and multiracialism, that is not an argument for us to take steps back, but for us to keep on charging forward, no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how many times we may lose. But it is about a journey to change hearts and minds of people and finding and building young characters who can do so. And the second thing which I think all of us can learn from Saudara Kid is that despite being someone of his age, stature and experience, is to never stop giving opportunities to young leaders to climb up, whether it's his party, DAP, or in different coalitions. I do not need to mention the number of young leaders which DAP has cultivated, who now are not merely my political colleagues, but who I consider as some of my best friends. People like Saudara Chin Tong, Hanayo, Yobi, many of those who now I see as the best of friends and not just political colleagues. But they were given an opportunity at a time in which a lot of parties would choose to keep on nominating the same old faces. But Saudara Kid, I believe, played an instrumental role in changing that culture in DAP. And what I believe I would want to do better in Muda. And I think these are two very important values. So my final message to Saudara Kid is this. I think I have contributed to some extent to the demonization of yourself when I was young. In that system, through the multiple Biro Tata Negara camps which I've been forced to go at times, I would also volunteer to go. But that was my past. But my assurance is that in moving forward, in common values, common systems, and ensure that Malaysia will become a multiracial, moderate, prosperous, developed, dignified country which you had envisioned when you were young. And I believe that legacy and that thought will be continued by millions of other young Malaysians regardless of where they live. And if anyone thinks that saying this is something controversial because immediately you will be seen, you are a puppet of Kit Siang. I mean, they forget and they undermine the intellect of young and old, different race and religion, urban to rural Malaysians who share the same belief that they just want to see a Malaysia in which they could be proud to call home, regardless of the skin color which they are born into, the religion in which they associate to, regardless of the class which they are in. But in the end, it's an ultimate unified journey, which is to build a country which we are proud to call home, a country which will get its developed status, a dignified country free of corruption, with a good quality of education, a good pay, a good housing, a good public transportation, issues which tie us all up together. And that journey is ultimately the Malaysian journey, the Malaysian dream, which we should all embark on. So thank you very much, Saudara Kid. I look forward to working very closely with you, your colleagues, and those who you've inspired in Malaysian politics. And for those who hate you, demonize you up until today, they are not my enemies. These are people who will work tirelessly day in and day out to prove them wrong, but not by being arrogant, but to show that I was just like them. But I believe the best way to heal and unify Malaysia is not through vengeance and vendetta, but it's by changing hearts and minds of people to realize that we are indeed stronger together. Thank you very much.